There is a perception of Vietnam that they're going to pull your teeth out with some pliers. How do you overcome that? How much are you recommending this because it's beneficial for me? Or how much are you recommending this because you're going to get paid more money out of this? That's a challenge in Vietnam, I think.
So that's a challenge everywhere.
It is a thing that goes through people's minds. Is it clean? Is it sanitary? Would that have been a problem in Vietnam in the past?
I think so, especially at the public hospitals. I think general tourism, Vietnam is very good at promoting, but medical and dental, not so much.
Welcome to a Vietnam podcast with me, your host, Niall Mackay. Thank you so much for watching this episode. This is a continuation of the previous episode, so if you want to go back and check it out, you can do that. I talked to Annie Vo from Premier Dental, who is the sponsor of this season of a Vietnam podcast, but that's not the reason why she was on the podcast. I forgot to mention this in the last episode. She has been one of the most difficult people to nail down for an interview. I've been asking her for a long time. And we joked that she was actually blacklisted from the podcast. She wasn't really, but we joked that she was blacklisted. She wasn't allowed back on a Vietnam podcast because she turned me down so many times. She actually didn't turn me down. She just did what a lot of people do and kind of ghosted me. But we've always been talking, but never able to get her on the podcast. Finally, she agreed. So thank you so much to Annie for coming on. We talked for so long. I've split that episode into two parts. So the first part, we talked about her background in America as a Vietnamese American, why she left for America or why her family left, why she came back, and some of the cultural challenges about doing that. Then we went on to talk about what it means to run a business in Vietnam, and specifically a dental business. So I asked a couple of challenging questions I like to think about dental tourism and the perception of Vietnamese dentists and why maybe a lot of people don't trust dentists in Vietnam, especially from overseas, as we've talked about on this podcast many times. They perceive Vietnam as all rice paddies and buffaloes, so you're probably not going to jump on a plane and come over here to get a tooth extracted or some implants when you think there's only rice paddies and buffaloes. But obviously being here, I know that's different. You might not be. I don't know where you are in the world. Maybe you live in Vietnam as well. But in this specific episode, we talk about running a dental surgery in Vietnam and some of the challenges around that and why she runs an amazing dental surgery and why, even as a sponsor, I'm not just saying this, they are my dentist. You should go check them out. So I hope you enjoy this episode. I really hope you're enjoying a Vietnam podcast. Don't forget, rate, review, subscribe, share it as well with other people. That really, really helps. So thank you so much for making this podcast a success. Thank you for everybody for tuning in, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on old school audio. I cannot thank you enough. So enjoy this episode of a Vietnam podcast and thank you for tuning in. Cheers. So you came back to Vietnam, you've started a business, Premier Dental. Is that name purposeful? Because I know from my experience here in Vietnam, they love that word premier, premium. It's I've used it as well, even for my own business. We're a premium podcast agency. I've seen businesses, they love to title themselves. It's like I've seen businesses that title themselves the way they want to be perceived. So there was a coffee shop, and I can't even remember the name of it now, but it was like Premier Coffee or something like that. Or they literally just will put an adjective in front of the name that describes exactly what the business does, and Premier, Premium immediately gives it that upper echelons. Was that a conscious decision to name the business that?
Yes.
What makes it premium then? What makes it Premier?
Okay, I would like to say first, though, that my husband and I did not start the business. My dad did over 20 years ago. So we were sort of taking it on from him.
And he called it Premier Dental.
No, he called it Nha Vic. So Nha means dentistry and Vic is Vietnamese. So my dad was really proud of that name. But it's not a name that is super memorable. It's not super memorable. It doesn't bring to mind sort of how valuable it is, what kind of service, things like that. But my dad was proud of that name because it's sort of the dental clinic for Vietnamese, the Vietnamese dental clinic, both of the above. A few years ago, maybe 3 years ago, my husband and I thought, first of all, we thought about changing the name. We went through quite a few names, partly because there was confusion when people looked up Nha Vic. I think Nha Vic, Nha means house, is a big company too, and that would show up first. And especially for foreigners who aren't very aware of the accents or diacritics, it was hard for them to find us, really. And so we wanted to make it more easily searchable, more memorable in terms of the name, and also convey the value that we're trying to give to customers.
So was the choice between Premier and Premium?
No, no. The name was more my husband, sort of the feel. We were thinking of, maybe like Victoria, our first daughter's name, also Australian, things like that.
But there is a Victoria Healthcare, so that probably got in your way.
That's right. That's right. There were other factors to consider, but we landed on Premier Dental, easy to remember, conveys the value, and easy for Vietnamese and foreigners alike to.
Well, tell me about running a dental surgery in Vietnam, because as I mentioned at the beginning, so it is my dentist as well. I mean, I think we got to know each other before that. I mentioned as well, you do so many networking events, and you're a woman around town, and we've thankfully met through friends as well. We met at Rasha's going away parties. Remember that was years ago?
That's right.
And then
Wow.
I don't know if that was the first time we met. I don't think so. I think we'd met before that. And then now I use Premier Dental, and as I mentioned in the beginning, I did have my wisdom teeth out there. So nothing to do with Premier Dental. It's been probably my lifelong nightmare to have my wisdom teeth removed. I knew they were there. I'd had x-rays before. One of them was poking through. But I was always like, I hope I never have to have them removed. And eventually, I went to your place and they were like, no, we need to remove these. And I knew it was coming. I was like, it's horrible. It's as bad as you can imagine. But fully anesthetized, couldn't feel a thing. Anytime I felt a tiny thing, they immediately gave me some more. I wasn't put under, but I couldn't feel a thing. It's just a horrible experience. But I've been to different dental surgeries in Vietnam. It is a Premier Dental surgery. The settings, the surroundings, the equipment, the staff, everything about it is incredible. But what my main question I want to know is the difficulties of setting up a dental surgery in Vietnam based on one, this sounds really negative, but the reputation of maybe dentists in Vietnam. I mean, I drive around and I see many, not roadside dentists, but street side dentists that look very, very basic. I've used other dentists, even in Tao Dien, which are essentially pretty basic, especially compared to Premier Dental. And then obviously in Vietnam, people know that rules and regulations sometimes can be either non-existent or not followed. So how did that play into creating a dental surgery that is one trusted and doing things correctly? Because I don't know, the other part of that question might be, are other dentists not doing things correctly? Because again, sorry for making such a long question, but I always kind of speak from experience of the expat groups. I look at expat groups. There's a lot of people always asking for recommendations for dental surgeries. People have concerns. People are worried because they do see these street side dentists, or that makes them sound bad. If you live in Vietnam, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's just like a dentist within a block, right? But it's not fancy. It's not normal. It's a nha qua, right? Is that right? Yeah. And they're getting nicer. There's a nha qua just across from us that looks pretty nice as well. I would say maybe you're one of the first ones that's Premier. So then there's a whole bunch of questions there for you to answer.
That's a lot of questions.
Yeah. I try normally only ask one question at a time, and then I've just broke my rule there and I asked you about 5, but you can answer that. There's a general theme there, is what is it like to open a dental surgery in Vietnam?
Okay, so first things first is we didn't start it. There was a template with the existing dental clinic that my dad had started in, Lê Thị Riêng Street, in District 1. And it had been in operation for 20 years. And I think our founding principle, my family, my dad is not a businessman. He's a clinician. He's a dentist who's passionate about his craft. And he's also a pioneer within the dental implantology field. As I've shared sort of before, he was the first Vietnamese dentist to study dental implantology in the U.S., I think 95, 96. And then he came back to Vietnam and became the director, the head of the first implantology department at a national hospital here.
Quick question. What is implantology?
Oh, it's it's a tooth replacement option. This is not, I don't know the exact terms, but if you've lost a tooth, instead of getting a bridge or a crown or dentures, you have the actual implant itself is sort of a screw screwed into your jaw, and then the crown, the restoration, the tooth, fake tooth, put in on top of that, and it's as close to like a replacement tooth as possible, and can last 10, 15, 20 years. My dad has placed those that have lasted 20 years and above.
Thank you. It's one of those ones, implantology. Like, I know what the word implant means, but I'm not really sure what it means. So thank you for that. So continue.
So our founding principle is more the quality of the care that we offer, and the passion for dentistry as a health service, rather than kind of cosmetic. So my dad is not a businessman, and he was passionate about the craft, and he shared a lot of the craft with fellow dentists here and trained a lot of others. And for quite a number of years, he headed the implantology department at Bệnh viện Răng Hàm Mặt Trung ương. It's one of the national hospitals here, public hospitals here in Saigon.
So the second part of my question was, so obviously you had that basis, which is incredible. I think it's also interesting about how your dad's not a businessman. It's the same with everything, right? Like, you get passionate about something, you're good at something, and then if you want to make it successful, you suddenly then have to be a businessman or whatnot. But we won't go down that route. But my big question I want to know is, like, overcoming the challenges of quote unquote Vietnam, right? And I don't mean to, obviously I live here and I love it, but there is a perception of Vietnam as maybe some people would perceive that they're going to pull your teeth out with some pliers or something like that. Like, that would be the extreme end of it. But I guarantee there will be somebody somewhere that thinks if you say, oh, I go to a dentist in Vietnam, they'll be like, oh, how do you overcome that?
So we countered that perception by not just using pliers and yanking people's teeth out.
Thank God.
And so first things first, so the basics is that we do things by the book. We have the requisite permits and licenses, and we get audited by the Ministry of Health. And basically, we follow all the rules and regulations here, and we actually go beyond that as well. So with my husband's education in Australia, and also he spent 3 years at Columbia, he's bringing those standards back here and applying them here, and teaching our team and staff and dentists as well those standards. So our sanitization procedure is we use top of the line equipment and also make use of sort of a UV machine and things like that. And we train our nurses and dental assistants to follow that procedure very properly. And our room is also, walls are made of glass, so customers sitting in the waiting room can also see what our team is doing.
You said that as a small example about the sterilization. I think that's a big example. I think that perfectly sums up what people might be worried about coming here is sanitization, sterilization. I mean, I know it's a little bit different, but a few years ago, I split my elbow open and I had to go to the hospital in Hoi An to get stitches. And luckily, one of our friends was a doctor and she came with us and she oversaw what he was doing. And she was actually like, he's amazing. Like, he's incredible at stitching it up. And it was all very sanitary. But I was on a metal bed in a pretty dirty room. It was like a government hospital, Sunday morning. It is a thing that goes through people's minds. I think more than anything, is it clean? Is it sanitary? And would that have been a problem in Vietnam in the past?
I think so, especially at the public hospitals, which have do have some great clinicians and doctors, but just the volume of people that go through, it's hard to maintain that. But dentistry, even beyond the medical field, is a subfield of the medical field that is more advanced for some reason. Maybe because it's more specialized. We've had some pioneers within the field that have studied abroad and brought it back, including my dad, but then also others. And we've imported sort of equipment as well, and so it's more advanced than even other medical fields. So within Premier Dental, what we try to do is we change the name. We also have a motto, world-class care you can trust. And we hope that that value sort of permeates down as well, internally. We've hired dentists that we try to hire dentists that are bilingual, kind of have the same values as we do, patient-centered sort of ethical care, and that are not motivated sort of primarily by money or to maximize income. I think we try to hire dentists that have the same viewpoint as us of dental care as a medical service and treatment, more than anything.
I think you've highlighted something there that I hadn't thought of as we were talking. With medicine, with health, money becomes a thing. And we know Vietnam, for its communist roots, is a very money-driven society. And I think that is something that concerns people, and it has concerned me in the past, not with dentistry, with other... I had to go to the doctor a few months ago for something. It wasn't a massive thing, but one of his first things was, okay, we can book you in for surgery. And I was like, okay. And he's like, and I'll be the surgeon. And I was like, okay. Are there other options? Can we try like some medicine first? And we tried some medicine, and sure enough, it went away and it was fine. I didn't have to go for surgery. Now, the surgery would have probably been covered by insurance, but it would have been about 70 odd million. And I do remember thinking, and I've had this thought in the past with doctors and other things, like, how much are you recommending this because it's beneficial for me? Or how much are you recommending this because you're going to get paid more money out of this? That's a challenge in Vietnam, I think. And America and everywhere, not just Vietnam.
Yeah. So that's a challenge everywhere. And it's a message that's really hard to get across. But it's a message that's very hard to get across. But we put the word trust in our motto for a reason. And it's something that we are very proud of, and we try to build our reputation based off of that. And so we try to build our team internally, from the hiring process to onboarding to internal trainings to sort of messaging of our values, such that when a patient comes in, they can feel that they can trust the doctor and what the doctor is recommending.
Have you ever had any pushback on that? Have you ever had any experiences where maybe somebody doesn't follow your brand or your motto, and you have to be like, no, like, don't prescribe something that they don't need or give something that they don't need just so we can make money?
Occasionally, especially with our new dentists. I mean,
Because sorry to interrupt, because their mindset is, this is what we do.
Correct, especially when the patient asks for it.
Really? Patient-led, patient-driven?
Yes. So, for example, a patient can come in saying, I want a full set of veneers. And that's a lot of money. That's a that would be great for the clinic from a revenue perspective, right?
Yeah.
But is it good for the patient? And the line can be blurry. And the dentist might say, we are a service that's cosmetic, and the patient is coming in asking for it. So should we or should we not? But veneers always requires sort of grinding down of your enamel. Yes.
Should have given a trigger warning for this
I
episode.
apologize.
Some people are so anti-dental, or like, and I'm a little bit. I can do the dentist fine, but it still makes me like, oh. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
So you shave the teeth.
Yeah, you shave the enamel to allow space for the veneers, which is a thin sort of layer that you put on top to make your teeth look straight and polished and white. But sometimes, it's not suitable for the patient, or in the long term, it might not be good for their dental health. That's just a small example. We look at it, and then my husband really, and then we say,
It's a tough call.
maybe not every teeth.
Yeah.
Or try whitening first, or something like that. I think quality control and review of cases is something that my husband does in the background, and that helps sort of keep dentists, especially the new ones, in check and in line with our values.
Awesome. Do you feel like you're raising the bar of dentistry in Saigon and in Vietnam?
I think this is a question better suited for Dr. Albert Lee, my husband. I do everything but the professional clinical side.
Well, we all know the wife is the brains behind the operation. Like, I know that. We all know that it wouldn't happen without you. But it's very nice to give it to your husband.
Part and parcel. We're together. We separate our titles, but together we handle management of the clinic.
Dental tourism is a big thing worldwide. I mean, I know from my own family, my sister lives in Australia, and she had to have dental work, and it's eye-wateringly expensive. It's one of those ones I don't understand why teeth and eyes aren't considered part of your body when it comes to insurance. But anyway, we won't get into that. Dental tourism is massive worldwide. I don't think Vietnam is known so much for it. Is that growing, and is that changing? And are you trying to make that happen as well?
Right, so that's true. Dental tourism, medical tourism in general, and dental tourism specifically is growing quite a bit. the price differential for different procedures can be quite a lot. Like an implant,
Massive. It's like come to Vietnam for a month and hang out
Yeah.
and get your teeth done, and you still save money than getting it just done in your home country.
Exactly. Like, yeah, cost of the flights, accommodation,
Yeah.
your travel. True. Like I think an implant in Australia can be anywhere from like $5,000 to $10,000 depending on the implant line and dentist and what you need and whatnot. And here it's like from 1 to 2, or maybe depending at our clinic from 1 to 2. Elsewhere, the price can vary, but you can save quite a bit. Vietnam has not made it on the map for dental tourism yet.
Why is that?
That's a good question. I think we haven't promoted it enough, both the industry and maybe even the government. I think general tourism, Vietnam is very good at promoting, but medical and dental, not so much, especially compared to some of our neighbors, such as, for example, Thailand. And I think we can work on it as a country, as an industry.
It's interesting because, yeah, Thailand was the first one that came to my mind as well. And I guess it maybe just does a better job at it. But again, obviously, I love everything Vietnam. And so I do hope that more people take advantage of that and come and have a holiday in Vietnam and get your teeth done. I just think it's maybe facilities like Premier Dental didn't exist as much or haven't existed as much. So it's not really been top of mind for people. And I think if more and more people start to understand that they can get Western care here for much cheaper, much more affordable. I hate the word cheaper, much more affordable. I think that would help.
Yes. Do your due diligence. You're right. I think that the more modern facilities and clinics and international standards are more recent in Vietnam. And previously, I think within 10, 15 years ago, perhaps a lot of the work was done in public hospitals, which are not suitable for a lot of reasons for dental tourism and medical tourism. But the private dental clinics, it only started in 1999, 2000, really, the multi-chair private dental clinics. But it has grown exponentially since then. And the quality of care you can get is really high, the level of care. But you do have to do your due diligence and make sure that this is a clinic that has the requisite licenses and permits, and look into the dentist and their experience. Have they maybe done did they get their degree abroad, or have they, done a course or something abroad, and sort of dig deeper?
Honest question. How many other facilities are there that match the standards of Premier Dental with everything that you just said there?
I know of several. And there are price differences as well, and there are differing levels of English ability at the dental clinics as well.
Which is important for medical tourism and dental tourism.
Extremely, extremely important, because communication is key. When you're getting something done to your body, your mouth, your teeth, something done, you want to know what's going on. And you need to consent, and, it sounds sort of legalistic, but it is important to understand what's going on and what's being done to you, and communication is key. And so we have I know of several that meet these standards. We have different strengths, but do your due diligence. Come for a checkup and see how you feel, how your communication is with that doctor. That is really important. And perhaps, if you're abroad, email the clinic. Ask if you can for an online sort of consultation.
Oh, you can do that with teeth now.
Well, no. So the
I can just imagine
consultation.
somebody with their phone like, how are my teeth? Does it look all right?
No, it is more to ask the basic questions.
Yeah.
How long will this take? Get to know. It's more like the connection you have with the dentist, rather than the real consultation. Still, the doctor needs to kind of see and feel and test your teeth and do x-rays and all that. So
I could just imagine there was somebody calling with like their mouth wide open like.
not quite yet. No, not with dentistry.
This sits on my computer. I guess I see it every day. And it's this.
Wow.
Do you know what this is?
Well, a plastic model of your teeth.
This is my teeth.
Oh, it's your teeth.
Well, plastic model of my teeth.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
my
yeah.
teeth are in my mouth. But so I, like I said, I had my wisdom teeth taken out and I had my fillings redone as well. And so this was just sitting on the desk, and it's Wilson, is his name, right?
Dr. Wilson.
Yeah, Dr. Wilson. And it was sitting there, and it's so weird because I like recognized my own teeth because they've got, everyone's teeth are slightly different. This tooth sticks out a little bit. And I just saw it sitting there and I was like, that my teeth? And he's like, oh yeah, that's like a 3D model. He's like, do you want it? I was like, yeah, I want it. So like this just sits on my desk. It's my teeth, which is pretty cool. So this is the level though that you guys have. This is 3D printed model of my teeth. I didn't even know you'd taken an x-ray or anything. I just didn't even know it. And I was like, oh, that is amazing. So that's pretty cool. So do your due diligence, but go to Premier Dental, check them out, go to their website. It's in the show notes. Thank you so much. This has been incredible talking to you and really, really enjoyed it. Finally, I get to put you on the spot because you do all these amazing events and networking events. You really do help bring people together in Saigon. So it's amazing bringing the Vietnamese community together as well. You do a lunch every Tuesday.
That's right.
The Vietnamese overseas lunch, which I went to recently. I was the token white guy. Annie sent me a message on Facebook. She's like, you going to come to the event? I was like, well, I'm not Vietnamese and I'm not overseas Vietnamese either. But she's like, please come along. So I call myself the token white guy. But I know it was amazing. And your networking events on Thursday are brilliant as well. I actually managed to get clients for my business through that as well. So it's really, really incredible. Premier Dental is, honestly, it is amazing. I'm not just saying this because I have been there. I've been going for years. You've reminded me I need to go and get my teeth cleaned soon, actually, as well. But thank you so much. You are also the sponsor of a Vietnam podcast. So we really appreciate that as well. So make sure you go check out Premier Dental. Whether you're overseas thinking of coming to Vietnam for dental tourism, I can completely vouch for them. They are incredible. And if you're living in Vietnam and you're looking for a dentist, then go check out Premier Dental as well.
Thank you, Neil.
You are very welcome. Annie, thank you for joining me on a Vietnam podcast. Thank you for listening on this special episode, 6 years today since the very first episode of a Vietnam podcast, recorded in my bedroom on a tiny little microphone, one piece of equipment. Now you can't even see, but we have equipment all around us. Hopefully you can hear the difference as well. So don't forget, please share this episode with somebody else who is passionate about Vietnam, whether they live here or not. Rate, review, subscribe, follow, all of that stuff. Remember, we are on YouTube now, so if you are watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Or if you want to see what me and Annie look like and you're listening, then go to YouTube and go check it out. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of a Vietnam podcast, and I hope you listen to many, many more in the future. Annie, thank you so, so much.
Thank you, Neil. I'm honored.
You are welcome. Cheers.